Welcome to Music Row, a backstage pass to your favorite country artists. Here's your host, Leake.
Are these your guitars behind you?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of guitars. That one plays pretty good. That one plays really good.
Okay.
And then I have
looks like it would.
I have some. So this one's kind of more for show. Those are the ones that kind of you want hanging on the wall, I guess. The ones that are for show, and the ones that are really good, you keep them in the cases.
Yeah, because they go to gigs.
Well, it's not. I think it's more just the rough and tumble of the household.
Yeah.
Now, here's a fun fact. I am terrible at guitar.
Oh, really?
Unlike you, who basically taught himself how to play at the tender age of 6. No, I don't know.
Oh, someone's been on my Wikipedia page.
You started really young, didn't you? Was it guitar or was it piano or what was it?
It was actually organ. Yeah. So what happened was my great grandmother, my mother's grandmother, had an organ in her parlor. She had a very old house. In fact, I just drove by it the other day. It's still there.
A parlor. Just the fact to say that too.
Parlor.
That tells me that it had some age to it.
It was a very old and creepy house. I used to just sit on her knee and play. And she had, I don't know if you've ever seen these organs that have like all the numbers on the keys. And then there was books that corresponded to it. So you didn't need to know how to read music. As long as you knew numbers, it would tell you where to put your fingers.
Right,
so
just match the number with the key and let's go.
Exactly. And it was church hymns. And so I figured out a bunch of that stuff on my own, and my parents were intrigued. They weren't particularly musical. My dad a little bit more than my mom, and so they asked me if I'd like to enroll in lessons, and I was excited about it. So I remember the guy came to the house and asked me to make a decision whether I wanted to take piano lessons or organ lessons. And since I only knew organ, I said organ. And that turned into playing in bands, because the place that I took lessons from, the Ontario Conservatory, they had a little program way before School of Rock where they would put together these little combos of kids around the same age, around the same skill level, and you'd go and play like at the Kiwanis Festival, or you do these little band competitions where you'd play 2-3 songs.
How old were you?
I was 8. And
so you would go around and play these little showcases at that age. You were probably too dumb to be scared.
No, I was scared. I loved it. I loved it. It's like, and I describe it in 2 ways. So number one, music became a team sport early. And the way I describe it to my friends is like, you can come home from school and go into the driveway with your hockey net and practice your wrist shot all day long. And it's fun. And it's really fun when a friend comes over and plays and you play together. But then when you get like 3 or 4 kids playing a little game in the driveway, man, that's when it really gets fun. And music's no different. So the first time I stood in a room with 4 other kids and played a G chord, the power of that was just very interesting to me. And I wasn't the singer out of the gate, but I became the singer quickly. And then I never was not in a band. I've had a band for now almost 40 years.
So with that, you're 8 years old. Was there any music that you really liked at that time? Or did you not even have like any sort of filtration? You're just like, yeah, okay, it's a song. You didn't know if it was a country song, if it was like you started playing church hymns and stuff like that. Could you tell the difference? Were you buying cassettes? What was happening?
I was always really into music. My parents, they played a lot of music in the house. For my mom, it was like Simon and Garfunkel and the Beatles, some Christian rock in there, but it was mostly like the classic stuff, and I got into as we started to play, because mostly the repertoire that we were playing was what the guitar players were working on in their lessons. So it was like, in 88, it was like Every Rose Has Its Thorn, like that, those kinds of songs, or like there seemed to be a lot of Poison for whatever reason.
Popular at the time.
I don't know. Yeah, popular at the time. So we were learning whatever the guitar players were learning, and that's what we were playing. But the first time I ever performed in a band, we played Hard Day's Night and Imagine. So
right off the bat.
It was like, classic stuff, and because the place I took lessons, the guy that ran it was a big Beatles guy. He had a big picture of the Beatles in the studio and a big picture of John Lennon as well.
You want to play songs that people are going to kind of recognize right off the bat, because then it's easier for the kid to learn, because the chances of you hearing It's a Hard Day's Night and Let It Be and stuff like that, it's really good. go with the familiar sounds, the stuff that you kind of taught yourself when you started playing the bar gigs.
Well, that's just it. It all became became standard material that you had to learn. And, I was playing young enough in bars that my friends used to say I was born 30 years too late because I was playing not music of the times, but music that people would want to consume in the bar when I was 15, 16 years old. They were much older than me. So in the bands I was playing in were much older than me as well. That's just what we did, was a lot of classic rock or classic country or whatever it was.
I think it was called Current at that time. Stuff.
It was what, sorry?
It might have been called Current at that time.
Yeah, Current. Yeah, no, it was even a little further back at that time. But we did do songs of the times. Like, when I was in my teenage years, we were doing a lot of like Bare Naked Lady covers.
Right.
In the Tragically Hip and things like bar songs that you would hear if you went down to Putty's here in St. Catharines on the weekend and then the cover band played. It was still playing the same stuff that we were playing back then, It's
wild, and it's cool too for those songs that have managed to stick around for that much time. Like the fact that, someone 20 years old today can get engaged, just say with the Tragically Hip, a band who had their heyday in the 90s. Songs that came out before these people were even born, but now because they're going to the bar and they're hearing these songs being played by some bands still on stage because they've just managed to just carry through the decades with the artists on stage. If you're a cover band on stage, I think you have more to do with keeping songs alive than a DJ does in the bar, because you're just playing big songs like Don McLean's American Pie.
Oh God.
If it wasn't for bands playing that on stage, where would someone who's 20 years old hear it today?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, at that point, like those are songs that my parents are playing. So the kids that are 20, it's like their grandparents are listening to that, Right. And I managed to get out unscathed by American Pie. I had a quip that, when people would ask me for songs like that, I would say, oh, they're just so long. You have to have an email subscription because he's still sending verses out. It's just so long. I just never learned the words. There were definitely songs, like I could name 10 songs right now that if I never played again, it would be okay. Because you just play them every night.
Right. It's not a shot at the song. It's you've played them out. And even though you might have the whole body rhythm and just know the notes without even having to think about it, the hand is just going to go there on the neck of the guitar.
Yep.
Part of your body is going to give up on it and say, no, we're not into this anymore, Tim.
Yeah. For me, it was the ultimate of that was Brown Eyed Girl.
Sure.
We just played it so many times, or like Sweet Caroline. Those two are the same to me. Or like when kids would ask for Journey in the 2000s, like before I had a record deal, they'd say, play Journey. So we'd play Love 'Em, Touch 'Em, Squeeze 'Em. They'd be like, no, play Journey. It's like Journey only has one song. It's Don't Stop Believing, right? You're like, they had tons of hits, but that's the one that people want to hear when they're out drinking with their friends and they want to go, just a small town girl, and we'd give it to them because that was our job.
Right. That's how you got paid. This band could play.
Yeah.
I think though, too, that's part of like when you're in a band, and like that's a big part of just learning who you are as an artist. And taking that time on those stages and dealing with those crowds that this isn't in your heart, but you're getting paid. And you got to do a good job so that the bar invites you back the next week so you can get paid again.
Yes.
Did you have like a regular gig, like a regular bar that you played at? Or was it a touring circuit?
No, I did. I had every Tuesday. This is at the height of my working musician days. And this is something I'm very proud of. At the height of it, I was playing every Tuesday in Brantford, Ontario. I was playing every Wednesday downtown Toronto, most Thursdays in Guelph. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday was a bit of a revolving door. And, when I played Tuesday in Brantford, I'd just be on my own, just with acoustic guitar, eating a bag of chips in between songs, entertaining the pool league. But there was a regular gig and it kept me working and I loved it. I loved, and I can speak about it because there was a time early on in my artist career where I just would shiver thinking of those days, but I've been enough removed from it now. I can I think back on it with nostalgia, and think about how lucky I was to be able to do those gigs and to meet those people and learn those songs and get comfortable in those rooms.
There is not one artist out there who doesn't have that story where they just sit back and they go, boy, it was so hard. It was such a grind. Or maybe there is some artists out there because of the way the world is working with the internet today. But when you talk to artists who played in the bars, especially if they were solo and they were going out to cover tracks and you'd play for like 2-3 hours a night during pool league night, like the fact that the pool league wasn't enough to get people in, but now they got a guy in the corner who's got to sweat out, 50 songs. But they all look back at it and they always say the same thing that you're saying. It's like, yeah, but I learned so much from that experience. How to deal with the crowd.
I lived for it. Yeah, I lived for it. And it's still like, those lessons are still lessons that I put to use today when I go and do a gig. How to get a crowd moving, how to get them clapping along, how to engage them. And I still think about the songs like the Brown Eyed Girls and the Sweet Carolines. What about those songs got people excited? And I think about that when I try and write, and when I pick songs, is this going to fit in the live show in a way that is going to be engaging for the audience? Because I learned early on, it's like if you involve the crowd in what you're doing, come on, sing along, stamp your feet. If you tell them what to do, they'll usually do it. And they'll usually leave and go, we had such a good time. And they don't even know why. And it's because you invited them in to be a part of the show, rather than just like delivering song after song after song, which some bands do, and they do it with great success. But for me, one of the keys that I learned from those days was to involve the crowd, which is how you get all the, hell yeah to the day I die, hell bent on a hell raise good time. Come on, you sing it, that's where all that comes from.
Were you shy at talking to the crowd in between songs?
No, never was. Loved it. Yeah. Because Leo, I'm a Leo. I'm like, love me.
I say that because I can see it in some bands today where they still are shy. They don't know what to do in that paused spot where they could be just retuning their guitar. They could be just grabbing another instrument. They might just be having a sip of water. But I can see them on stage and they're playing like good shows. These are big venues and they are still awkward. They haven't broken over that comfort zone of being able to engage with a crowd. And I think it's like the street performer has the same thing. They know how to engage with people, and maybe there's two parts. There's engage and then there's deal with people. Like you said, people coming up and saying, no, I want you to play Journey. And we just played 3 songs by Journey, but just not the only one but you figured out how to talk to them, right?
Yeah, you figure out how to talk to them. And, it's there's just some tricks. It's like, it's like anything. I would teach myself how to say a few things from the stage the same way that I would teach myself how to ask for money at the end of the night, because I always found that awkward. Sure. You're done the gig, the band standing there waiting to get paid. You have to approach the bar and say, okay, time to pay us now. And that's where I would be shy, so, because it's not in me to be a business person. That's something that I've had to really learn how to do. And I don't think I've got a ways to go even this far into a career. It's like, this is why managers exist. But I would teach myself what to say, to the bar manager.
Everybody part of a music career, whether it's your manager, your label, your agent, the whomever, everyone's got a role. Mm-hmm. And you would want Tim Hicks, the artist, to have the role of being the artist, the entertainer, the talent, right? But I get when you're in some of these bars, and the bar too, they're so focused on we need to sell more drinks real fast. Like if I stand in this corner and I start counting out $20 bills for Tim Hicks, that's 8 drinks that we didn't serve.
Totally.
And you become a hassle for some of these people.
Yes. And there was definitely an attitude like, well, you're not even working. Like, that's not work.
Right.
You just sang some songs, It's like, they're like, you this would always get me is that you would, you'd take a gig and you'd explain, or it would be laid out to you. It's 3 45-minute sets. Okay, great. Well, you start at 9 and you end at 1. Okay. So if you do the math, 9 to 9:45, if you take a half an hour break, that's 10:15 to 11. Half an hour break, now you're 11 to 12:15. So you have a choice. Do we then come back and do another little bit of music and overplay, or do we take a longer break? And I would always wind up in these awkward conversations with bar managers like, hey, you guys going to play? Like well, yeah, we're going to play. You hired us to do 3 45-minute sets. That means from 9 until 1, if you want us to play right to 1, we have to take 45-minute breaks. That's a long time. And you could lose a crowd. So they would almost rely on you going like, oh, come on, guys, we don't want to lose the crowd. We got to go up there and play more, play longer, or like whatever it is. And I was always very much by the book. It's like, because we weren't being paid a lot of money. So I always felt like if you're going to pay us $100 a guy, you're going to get what you pay for. We're going to play 3 45-minute sets. And that means that we're going to take 45-minute breaks and have the DJ play or do whatever it is. But that's what it's going to be, and that caused us some heartache and back in those days.
Well, and another thing that I notice about bars, and you would notice it too, just like not as an artist, not as a performer, any sort of talent, just going into any pub on any day, I find that, and this is not a shot, but the staff there they can be oblivious to the surroundings because they're so hyper-focused on serving you a drink, serving you food, serving you a drink, serving you food. I was at a restaurant not long ago where I sat, it was a Greek restaurant, and it will make sense why I'm bringing up Greek in a second, but I wasn't in there for 5 minutes. I'm like, they're playing a CD in here, and it's skipping.
Skipping, yeah, totally.
But it's skipping on a perfect beat that it's not, bothering. Like it's really hard to notice, but I can tell because it just kept on going da-ding, da-ding, da-ding. Like it was perfectly laid out.
Yeah.
And I said, hey, to the server, I'm guessing you're playing a CD. It's a Greek restaurant. You don't have the Greek channel on. You probably just have some CDs from the old world. And she goes, yeah, we do. Yeah, that's right. I think it's skipping.
Yeah.
She comes back around. She goes, I think that's been skipping for 4 hours. And and I bring this up when I say, like, I think the serving staff, they cut off at serving staff and they end up forgetting that there's a whole other part of the bar, the atmosphere that people are there for. And so those bartenders, when they're kind of crying for you to get up on stage and stuff like that, it's not really an in-sync package with one another.
Yeah.
Like the manager just says, just go and play, and then he walks away. It's like,
totally.
We should be working more as a team here. Like
totally. There'd be lots of times where we'd be standing up there waiting for them to shut the house music off.
Right.
And sometimes we just like, all right, well, let's just play. They'll clue in, and you finish the first song and there's still house music. And you're like, oh man, come on.
But DJ wants to keep the dance floor going. Oh man, I'm in a good groove here. I've got people on the dance floor. I want them to really like me now. No, I get it.
Yeah. And that's cool too. Like, and listen, all that I took with a big grain of salt, even back then. And it got me to where I am today. So I still wear that badge. In fact, I was just saying I forget who I was talking to, but my greatest asset and my greatest downfall has been that I still identify as a working musician more than an artist, I think. And what I mean by that is, like, you'll find me at the industry party hanging with the side guys, not mingling with the industry people. I'd rather talk shop about guitars and charts and songs and gigs and stories, with the band guys than I am worried about, buying drinks for the right people and hanging with the artists for the right Instagram post, but I can't change who I am. So.
You've been in that room a million times, so you would know that there's actually a big group of people who want to be doing exactly that. I was at a album release with Dirk Bentley, his Black album that came out years ago.
Nice.
And they did it in this cool studio in Nashville. And they kind of set it up like they had pews to listen. And I hate listening parties. I hate them with a passion because they put on the album and people are just sitting there kind of, absorbing it. Like you're supposed to hear it, but it's just not a cool vibe. But anyways, I was standing in this one particular spot. And when Dirks came in, there was really no spot for him to stand. So he was kind of forced to stand beside me. And we talked about aviation disasters for the entire album release party. And what would happen is he would be like, hang on, I got to go set up this next song, but I'm coming right back. And he'd come back. He's like, no, in my plane, what we do is this and this. And then the song would end. Damn it. I'll be right back. He wants to talk. He wants to talk that stuff instead of
talk shop.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk schmoozing about his new album and stuff that's going to make him millions more dollar, but fine.
Yeah. I am a horrible schmoozer. Like again, it's I'm awful at it. I have I wear my emotions on my sleeve. So it's like, as my wife says, it's like, if you don't like someone, they know it. And I don't mean to be that way. I just can't help. I can't help not being straight up with people, and it works to my advantage sometimes, because honestly, like when I do a meet and greet, I'm genuinely excited to see people. I love that aspect of being an artist and performing and going on tour. And I love to shake hands and thank people, because it really is the audience that makes it worthwhile. And I realize in my off time, that it's like I start looking at going to hang at open mics or something. You know what I mean? I just want to get up and play, because that's still the most exciting part of this whole ride for me, is the gig, just playing in front of people and playing to myself in my studio or my living room doesn't do it for me. I like to get a reaction out of people, and that's just part and parcel of my personality. So it's I literally this morning at the gym, I was in the massage chair before I went to work, and I was Googling open mic night Niagara to see if there's a place I can go play, before the tour, just because I love it,
Well, it's funny. I was just talking on my other podcast, The Leak and Review, very good, very well reviewed, and lots of listenership. But I was talking with this guy named Ryan Jarman. He's with a band called The Cribs, and he was kind of saying along the same lines, where he says, like, it's all he really knows is going out and playing live. And when he's tired of the tour, it doesn't take him long from that tour where they get a short break, and he's like, we got to get back out on stage. We got to get back to us, because it's what he does, and it's what you do, being on the stage. And it's funny because I wanted to talk about that with you today. There has to be a stir crazy side to an artist where you can't write songs every day. You can't go in the studio every day. You can't do these things every day. So what is it for you, Tim, when you're not on the road? And by the way, big tour coming up. We'll talk all about that in a second. Yeah. What are you doing to keep yourself kind of sane in some of these times?
I try my best. This is my biggest challenge, is the in-betweens, and we were just lucky enough to see Blue Rodeo. And, I'm lucky enough that when I go to see a band like that, I can usually weasel my way backstage to say hi to the band and crew. And because we work with some of those guys, and Jim Cuddy asked me the same question. He goes, so what's next for you? I said, tour. He goes, when do you leave? I said, May. He goes, oh, wow. What are you going to do between now and then? I said, just focus on being a dad and a husband.
Right.
And honestly, I take, like, my family calls me the chore master, because I need to stay busy to stay sane. And so I'm the guy, out getting the groceries and cleaning the kitchen and, doing the things, keep running a household, so that Amanda can work on her PhD and the kids get off to school. And I don't do that without help. She's 100% involved and amazing and covers my slack when I'm not around. But I do my best to stay busy doing normal things, which creates challenges for me, because my team will say, hey, you need to post on socials. You haven't posted in 3 days. And I'll be like, so do you want me to take a picture of me vacuuming the living room? Or, you know what I mean? Like, do people want to see Tim Hicks at the grocery store? I don't know if they do, like,
it's funny though. I think people do. That's how crazy the world is.
That's what they say. It's like, we'll do it. Well, here I am in the cereal aisle. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I struggle because, again, like, I do live for the gig, and I went from doing 200 shows a year, and that's not blowing smoke. Like, I was playing 5, 6 nights a week for years before I ever did any of this as an artist. And then, you go from that to, you're going to do 25 shows this year. And, as a Canadian artist, there's only so many shows you can do. And then you have time off to go work on a record. And in the early days, yeah, I'd be down in Nashville trying to write and doing the whole thing. But I'm 10 albums in at this point, or some ridiculous number. So things are a little different.
18 number ones, all kinds of Junos and CCMAs and all this.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever it is at this point.
Never won any of those. That's just folklore. Always a bridesmaid, never a bride. But I'm lucky. I have a career, and I'm trying my best to focus on being grateful for all those things, and looking forward to getting back out on the road. Because, again, it's like, that's where I live, man. Like, I love the band. I love to play in the band. I love being my own band leader. That was something that shocked me when I first came on the scene, is that's apparently a rare thing in our genre, in our industry, is like the artist being the band leader as well, or being the musical director. Like, I'm the guy giving out guitar parts, and I couldn't imagine not having my fingerprints on that. Like, I want to talk about those things with my band and work through it, and, do vocal practices where we're working on harmony parts. And I really enjoy that. And I guess that's unusual. So
when you're about to go out on the road,
outlier.
When you're about to go out on the road, and by the way, before we get into that, you probably, as domestic Tim, you love snow days where you're like, oh, good, I get to go outside and I got to go shovel the driveway. This is awesome.
Amanda loves to shovel snow.
Oh, wow.
So like, I go out and help her because, I mean, she's my wife and I'm not going to let her go do it on her own, but like, she loves it. So yeah, I mean, but I love snow days for the coziness. That's for sure. I like that.
Tell you
like,
what,
we're not going today,
when there's a snow day around here, my wife doesn't know where outside is.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, exactly. Me too. I mean, I don't love it, but yeah, I mean, I go out and shovel, and I'll help the neighbors too. We've got a lot of elderly neighbors on our street, so I'm happy to do that when my back doesn't hurt.
But well, you've been lugging amps around for decades now. By the way, the amp people, I don't know what it is, but why have they never had wheels? Like, we figured out how to put,
do.
But we figured out long ago to put wheels on luggage.
Mm-hmm.
But the amp it took a long time to adopt wheels for the amps. And I just feel like,
I mean, you have to have road cases.
That's just it. So that's the difference altogether. Let's talk about this tour.
I've had road cases since I was 21. I was one of those guys that was like, we're going to be pro. We're going to make it. Every band I was in was going to make it. So we're like, everybody's getting road cases. We're going on tour down to the Red Hot Chili Pepper, the bar here in town. I was literally rolling in my Marshall cabinet to play.
Oh my God.
The Chili Pepper in St. Catharines, on wheels, but you still had to lift it into a van.
Okay,
or
that
a truck.
One had the cabinets had wheels and that, but not
totally.
not your twin amps and stuff like that.
No. But I had a Marshall combo amp that I had a case made for years ago that I would roll that in. And then it was great because I would just put the combo on the case.
Right.
So it was up high at my head level so that I could ruin my hearing.
And you looked cool.
And we looked cool. That was the most important part in those days,
Going somewhere. A big tour, music to go along with it. I mean, when you're booking a tour, and you say, okay, we want to go out in May or we want to go out in the spring. Like, do you have a preferred time where you just need to hit the road? And does your family look at you and go, oh, you call this work? You're actually going on vacation. You love being on the road.
They get it.
Doesn't count.
Yeah, they get it. I mean, it's easier now that the kids are teenagers. When they were infants, there was a lot of like, oh yeah, you go enjoy your country music and your tequila. But we've worked through all that. So it's good. But yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter what time of the year. I'm happy to get out there. Just worked out that we're going to go out in the spring this time and get out there. And we've been talking about going out on the road for years at this point. Last time we did an organized tour was 22. And so, we're 4 years later, and it's not easy like that. This is when you organize a tour like this is when I lose sleep. Are we going to sell enough tickets? Are people still interested in coming? You don't know until the doors open,
right?
And so that to me is the scariest part, especially in this day and age. And I'm 13 years into my career as an artist, and I'm not looking for sympathy on that. That's just the reality of this day and age.
There's so much content out there. There's so many bands touring. I can't believe, where I'm at. We live in Southern Ontario. There are so many shows you can go see every single day of the week. Then there's so many other activities you can go spend your money on every day of the week. And I'm like, where does the money come from for all of this to go on? It blows my mind. Yeah, and then you walk into smaller markets where you don't have the population. There's still just as much content for people to go spend money on. Like I know the Winnipeg Jets, when the Winnipeg Jets years ago came back to Winnipeg, it basically shut down all other entertainment in Winnipeg because every dollar that was available for free money to spend on fun, it went to the Winnipeg Jets. Whether it was I'm going to the game or I'm buying a jersey or I'm buying a hat or I'm going to Boston Pizza to watch the game. But people weren't going to movies. They weren't going to restaurants. They weren't going to see concerts. Everything took a dive because all money went into that one thing. So touring, it's a bitch. Yeah. You got a lot of competition.
It's really, a lot of competition. And you've got, these big artists, like good on them that they can do this, but you got the Luke Combses and the Morgan Wallens and the Taylor Swifts of the world rolling in, and it's like, $500 a ticket. Then there's not a whole lot of money left over to see a guy like Tim Hicks. So you just hope that people are dedicated and interested enough that they'll still come, and we're about to find out.
Well, look, I just saw that Bruno Mars is doing 5 stadium shows in Toronto. I'm like,
incredible.
I didn't think he could do one. I know he's big. Yeah. I was thinking maybe he could do 2 arenas or something like that, but stadium 45,000, 50,000 people. That's some pretty wild stuff. What do you set out when you go out on tour? What does Tim Hicks say? Oh, on this tour, I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. And how long does it take before you inevitably fail on some of those things? And I bring this up because I know I know of one band who said, I'm really going to manage the drinking on this tour. We're really going to take it easy. Yeah. We're playing late at night, all that stuff. 3 days into the tour, it's like, we have been hungover for 3 days. And so what do you try to do on these tour days to make sure that Tim Hicks is taken care of and the band is taken care of?
So the number one thing is I go to bed, and I'm pretty good. I think if the guys were here, and even my wife, if she was in this room, she'd say I'm very disciplined when it comes to that. When it comes to vocal health and taking it all seriously, sometimes over the top about it. And I've butted heads with my band and crew on the bus some nights where it's like 3 nights to go on a tour and they're partying like there's no show tomorrow and I'm trying to sleep. So to me, vocal health is number one. Not trying to not overdo it when you don't have to, and going to sleep. The hardest part that I always try and do is to manage healthy eating, and you just can't on the road. Inevitably, if after show food is pizza and that's all there is, then I'm gonna have a slice, and I might come back 5 or 10 pounds too heavy. But again, it's like you have to be comfortable on the road, and managing sleep and managing diet are the 2 hardest things.
Yeah, the diet thing is weird because you're going on stage at 9:00 every night. You're sound checking in the middle of the afternoon. Mm-hmm. So you might be eating like a lunch around dinner time. And like you said, you come off the stage at 11:30 at night. You've burnt thousands of calories. You're hungry. You got to eat something, but you also know that you're going to be shutting down right away. And and what are you going to eat? Where are you going to get? Like you're in Regina. Yeah. It's 11:30 at night. What restaurant are you going to?
Yeah. What are you going to eat in Swift Current, Saskatchewan at 10 p.m.?
They have a husky.
There's pizza.
There's a husky, and I'll tell you, it's right on the Trans-Canada, and you want to go in there. It is so good. You get yourself a Denver sandwich, okay?
Yeah, for sure. I love those guys. Yeah, and it's great breakfast. And that's the thing. It's like on the road too. That's the one meal that I don't care. I'm not counting calories on. It's like, give me a good breakfast. I want eggs, bacon. I want it all, so that I've got enough fuel and I feel good for the day. Because usually the day is a grind. I've got lots to do. I've got media to do. I've got meet and greets to do. I've got sound check to run. Business to do. You can be overloaded quickly.
And this is after probably a 6 to 10 hour commute from one show to
Easily.
the next.
Yeah, and hopefully you did that while you were sleeping, so that you wake up and you're at the venue.
Yeah, when the kids are in the car and they're complaining about how long it takes to go to, point A to point B, do you just kind of yell at them and say, "Oh yeah, you want to drive to Mooseman right now?"
Yeah, get on the bus. Come on, let's go.
Tim.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for doing this. Congratulations on the new sounds. Congratulations on the upcoming tour. I look forward to seeing some dates that I can go check out while you're out there.
Yeah, man.
And it's a big tour too. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to hearing we'll have to check in with you on some point on the tour and hear how everything is going.
I love that.
Follow Music Row on X at Music Row Country, on Instagram at Music Row Official. Music Row is produced by Shed of Dreams.